All right, let's talk about one of the most important and maybe one of the most confusing words you'll ever see in Python, self. Getting a handle on this one little word is basically the key to unlocking a whole new level of programming. So let's unmask it, let's figure it out.
So picture this. You've just coded this awesome video game. It's going to be a huge hit, but you've got like 100 different players all running around in the game world at the same time. How in the world do you keep track of everything? Player 1 has 100 health, player 2 has 50, player 1 has a sword, player 2 has a shield. I mean, you can't just create hundreds and hundreds of variables like player 1 health, player 2 health. That would be an absolute nightmare to manage. There has to be a smarter way.
And that smarter way is all about classes and objects. The best way to think about it is this. A class is like a cookie cutter. It's the blueprint. It lays down the rules, right? It says every single player in my game will have a name, some health, and an inventory. Then an object? Well, that's the actual cookie you punch out with the cutter. Each one is a unique individual character in the game made from the same blueprint, but totally different from the next.
Okay, but that brings up a really interesting puzzle. If all these player objects are stamped out from the same mold, how does player 1 know about its own health? How does it not get confused with player 2's score or player 3's inventory? When you tell an object to do something, how does it know to do it to itself?
Well, the answer, the whole secret, is the self parameter. Honestly, just think of self as the object's way of saying me or myself. It's a special, automatic reference that Python gives every single object. It's a direct connection that always points back to that one specific object, giving it a way to find its own personal data.
Yeah, this is the perfect way to think about it. When you use self in your code, you are giving a direct order to a specific object. Writing something like self.health equals 100 isn't some general idea. It's like pointing at one player and saying, hey, you, take this number, 100, and store it in your own health variable so you remember it.
Okay, so that's the theory. But talk is cheap, right? The real aha moment comes when you see it actually work. So let's build our player class step by step and watch self do its thing.
So here's our blueprint. We start simple, class, player. Now this next bit, def underscore underscore init, looks a little funny, I know. It's a special method called the initializer. Just think of it as the setup function that runs automatically every single time we create a new player object. And notice what's first in the parentheses, self. It always has to be the first parameter. This is how Python hands the object a reference to itself. Then those next lines, self.name equals name and self.health equals health, that's the key. We're telling the object, take the name and health you were just given and attach them directly to yourself. Now let's actually create a player. We write player 1 equals player Zelda 100. And you might be looking at this and thinking, wait a minute, that underscore underscore init method had 3 parameters, self, name, and health, but we only passed in 2 things. And that's a fantastic observation. It's because Python works a little magic for us. When we create player 1, Python automatically passes the player 1 object itself as that first self argument. We don't have to type it, it just knows. And because of that, poof, our player 1 object now has its own internal memory, its own state. Inside this specific object, self.name is Zelda and self.health is 100. This data belongs exclusively to player 1. If we made a player 2, it would have its own totally separate name and health. No mix-ups. Okay, so our player can exist, but it can't do anything. Let's fix that. We'll define a new method called takeDamage. And what's the very first parameter? Of course, it's self. It has to be there. Why? Because the method needs to know which player is taking the damage. That line, self.health equals self.health minus amount, is the whole point. The object is literally saying, go find my own health, subtract this amount, and then update my own health with the new value. It's how an object changes itself. Time to put it to the test. We call player1.takeDamage20. And because we're calling the method on the player 1 object, using that dot, Python again does its magic and secretly passes player 1 in as the self argument. This is how the takeDamage method knows exactly whose health it's supposed to change. And there we go, the result. Player 1's health is now 80. Now, here's the crucial part. If we had a player 2 object just hanging out with 150 health, its health would be completely unchanged. It's still 150. The action only affected the one specific object we called it on. That's the power of self. It builds these invisible walls between objects. You know, sometimes the best way to really understand why something is so important is to see what happens when you take it away. So for science, let's break our code on purpose. Let's see what happens when we forget to use self.
So have a look at this. On the left, our beautiful working code. It uses self to connect everything. On the right, we've ripped self right out of there. The function is just def take damage amount. And the line inside tries to change a variable just called health. But whose health is that? The function has no idea. It's completely lost.
And if you try to run that broken code, Python will immediately throw its hands up and give you this error, a name error. It's basically screaming at you, you told me to find something called health, but I have no idea what that is or where to find it. Without self, the function is just floating in space, totally disconnected from the object's data. Self is the compass that always points a method back to its own home.
So we've established that first parameter is absolutely critical. It has to be there. But does it have to be named self? That's a fantastic question, and the answer is maybe not what you'd expect.
So here's the deal. The name self is not actually a hard-coded rule in Python. It's not a keyword like if or def. The real rule is simply that the first parameter of any method automatically receives the object instance. So yeah, technically you could name it this, or me, or even banana, and your code would run. But, and this is a very big but, just because you can doesn't mean you should. Using self is a powerful, universal convention. And just to prove the point, look at this weird code. It uses duckword and yellow duck instead of self. And guess what? It works. Python doesn't care about the name, but you should. Please do not copy this. Imagine another programmer trying to read this, or even you 6 months from now. It's confusing, it's messy, and it breaks a fundamental expectation of how Python code should look. At the end of the day, using the name self isn't about following a syntax rule. It's about clear communication. It's a shared language. When any other Python programmer on the planet looks at your code and sees self, they instantly know what's going on. It's the language of teamwork and professional coding.
So by really getting a grip on self, you've done more than just learn a new piece of syntax. You've basically just unlocked a coding superpower, the ability to build these smart, self-contained little boxes of code that can manage their own state and their own history.
Okay, let's do a super fast recap of the big ideas. A class is the blueprint. An object is the unique thing you actually build. Self is the critical link that lets an object refer to itself and manage its own data. It is always the first parameter in a class method. And finally, even though you could technically name it something else, just don't. Always use self. It's the convention, and it's what makes for clean, professional code.
So, I'll leave you with this final thought. Now that you know how to build objects that can actually remember things about themselves that have their own identity, what's the first smart object you would build? A bank account that knows its own balance? A car that tracks its own speed and fuel? The possibilities are endless. Thanks for tuning in.